The Wii wasn't just a console, it was a shared childhood. Families gathered in living rooms, friends competed late into the night, and Miis filled screens across the world. But beneath the laughter and motion controls lies an iceberg of lost media. Prototypes, hidden channels, and entire games that Nintendo would rather keep buried. The Wii Lost Media Iceberg is more than just trivia. It's a descent into what Nintendo showed us on the surface, and what they quietly erased beneath it. At the top are fragments that slipped into public view. But as we go deeper, we'll uncover projects that were silenced, experiments that vanished, and mysteries that hint at things Nintendo never wanted players to fully discover. By the end, we'll reach the frozen depths where the strangest pieces of Wii history remain sealed away. Layer 1, the familiar surface. At the surface rests the Wii startup disk error, a mistake Nintendo scrambled to cover up. Some early Wii owners powered on their consoles expecting Wii Sports, only to be greeted with a cryptic demand for a startup disk. Nintendo instructed them to return the consoles, but hackers later revealed the hidden startup menu, a glimpse of a system Nintendo never intended the public to see. On launch day, every Wii was meant to include Wii Sports, but a batch of consoles shipped without it, forcing players into this strange locked state. The only way forward, according to Nintendo, was mailing your Wii back for repair. Collectors soon realized these broken units were valuable, and auctions surfaced for systems showing the error screen. Eventually, hackers like Bushing and Larson V dumped the consoles in end, allowing the startup disk menu to be seen in full for the first time in over a decade. What was once a corporate mistake became one of the most famous cases of Wii lost media. The Wii Sports beta build was shown back when the system was still called Revolution. It included jetpacks, rough versions of Woohoo Island, and sports that never returned. What we got was polished and safe. What we lost was stranger, and perhaps more exciting. In 2005, Nintendo showed off early builds at events where Wii Sports was simply labeled as Sports Pack. Tennis, baseball, golf, and boxing were already present, but so were airplane dogfights, and even an unreleased jetpack minigame. Some footage survives, showing early Miis swinging rackets on crude-looking courts. Other concepts like the jetpack only appear in a handful of promotional stills, making them some of the most mysterious pieces of lost Wii media. Fans continue to search for playable builds, hoping one day a prototype surfaces to reveal what Nintendo once considered including in its most iconic pack-in game. Even the early Wii channels betray secrets of a console still in flux. In 2006, at a Japanese Nintendo press conference, footage of the beta Wii menu revealed prototypes of the Disc Channel, Mii Channel, Photo Channel, Shop Channel, Forecast Channel, and News Channel. The forecast globe once shimmered in bright teal with no background music, while the shop's prototype design glowed in orange and white instead of the familiar blue. Even the Mii Channel had extra sound effects that were later stripped away. Screenshots of the beta shop channel surfaced on Twitter in 2006, proving how far development had gone before Nintendo quietly replaced it. These builds look familiar, yet wrong, like echoes of a console Nintendo wanted to erase. They remind us that even the most ordinary parts of the Wii once existed in stranger forms now hidden from view. Layer 2, the hidden middle. Here is when the new Super Mario Bros. Mii demo was revealed at E3 2011 as one of the first showcases of the Wii U. It looked like a familiar Mario platformer, but allowed players to swap out the main cast for their Miis, a novelty at the time. The demo ran for 10 minutes before automatically resetting, preventing anyone from exploring too far. It was meant to highlight the Wii U's off-TV play feature, showing how the gamepad could mirror gameplay without a television. When the Wii U launched in 2012, New Super Mario Bros. U carried forward much of the design, but the Mii functionality was cut back to small challenge modes. The demo itself vanished after E3, never resurfacing after events or in leaks. For fans, it remains a tantalizing glimpse of what Nintendo briefly allowed but never released. Another piece of media they quietly tucked away. The Wii Fit body check channel was stranger. Available only in Japan, it required a special download ticket from a doctor and an SD card with unique files to even run. Once installed, the channel connected your Wii directly to healthcare providers, transmitting your fitness and body test results from Wii Fit straight to your doctor's office. It even tied into the DS title, Personal Trainer Walking, letting players send pedometer data to the Wii and onward to medical servers. The channel featured menus for sending emails, reviewing answers, and linking devices, though most functions are now locked behind dead servers. Because of its reliance on real healthcare infrastructure, Nintendo quietly dismantled it, and today only partial assets, diagrams, and reconstructed snapshots remain. Preservationists have made progress emulating fragments through fan projects like Wii Link, but the full service is considered almost impossible to restore. It's one of the clearest examples of Nintendo experimenting in ways they'd later bury without a trace. And then there was the Rabbids channel, a forgotten add-on for Rabbids Go Home. This is one of the strangest lost Wii services. Much like Nintendo's own Check Me Out channel, it allowed players to upload, customize, and showcase their Rabbids in different outfits, while connecting to other users' creations. The channel almost acted like a community hub, blending Ubisoft's chaotic Rabbids with the Wii's social features. Brief promotional footage shows menus where players could scroll through Rabbid galleries, swap costumes, and interact with their collections. But outside of this glimpse, no full recording or working copy of the channel has ever been preserved. Once servers shut down, the functionality disappeared without fanfare, and Nintendo never acknowledged it again. Today, the Rabbids channel survives only in a handful of clips and promotional stills. This is another piece of Wii history left deliberately out of reach. Next, we're on to Layer 3, the Lost Experiments. So deeper down, things get stranger. Super Mario Spikers was part volleyball, part wrestling, part chaos. Developed by Next Level Games in 2006 after their success with Super Mario Strikers Charged, it began as a straightforward volleyball pitch. But soon, the team experimented with the over-the-top physical moves, body slams, grapples, and theatrical takedowns that made the game resemble professional wrestling more than a family sports title. Nintendo initially entertained the concept, but became uneasy with how violent and aggressive the characters appeared. Internal guidelines, often referred to as Nintendo's Code of Honor, discouraged depictions of their mascots engaging in brutal combat. In 2007, the project was quietly cancelled. Concept art and a leaked prototype later surfaced, showing Mario characters mid-grapple and making fighting poses. For fans, it remains one of the strangest near releases. A Nintendo sports game buried not for technical reasons, but because it revealed a side of their characters the company preferred to keep hidden. Project Hammer pushed the Wii Remote to its limits, letting players swing a massive weapon in a dystopian future. Officially unveiled at E3 2006, it cast players as a cyborg armed with a colossal hammer, battling waves of robotic enemies across ruined American cities. Combat relied heavily on motion controls, with every string of the Wii Remote mapped to a crushing strike. Behind the scenes, development was troubled. Nintendo's software technology, the studio handling it, clashed with executives over direction. Some wanted darker themes and destructible environments. Others argued the repetitive motion controls needed fixing. At one point, the game was retooled into a lighter, more colorful project named Wii Crush, but issues persisted. The lead designer was dismissed, staff walked out, and by 2009, funding was cut entirely. What remains is scattered footage, concept art, and the memory of a rare Nintendo project that ventured into gritty territory before being buried for good. Then there's Cosmic Walker. Developed by Gaia, was a calm space adventure meant to let players drift among the stars. Announced at Nintendo's Fall Conference in 2008, it was pitched as an immersive zero-gravity exploration game where players could perform spacewalks, repair satellites, and float through orbital environments. Early footage showed astronauts maneuvering carefully through space stations, tethered by safety lines while the Wii Remote simulated precise hand movements. The game promised a blend of simulation and wonder, evoking the quiet isolation of space in a way few titles attempted. Despite the intriguing concept, Nintendo never spoke of it again after the initial reveal. No playable builds have surfaced, and only a handful of seconds of footage survive. To this day, it remains a mystery why Cosmic Walker was abandoned, leaving fans to wonder if it was too ambitious for Wii's hardware or simply too niche for Nintendo's vision. All that remains is proof it once existed, before Nintendo buried it. And now, WiiWa might be the strangest Wii experiment of all. Developed by Zoink Games around 2008, it centered on a plush toy accessory that players could physically insert their Wii remote into. Once inside, the plush itself became the controller. Its ears could be wiggled, its body shaken, and its limbs tugged to trigger in-game actions. The game combined light platforming with virtual pet mechanics, letting players guide a strange on-screen creature through puzzles and care routines. A nearly complete trailer released in 2009 demonstrated the bizarre control scheme, with animations synced to each movement of the toy. Early prototypes showed multiple plush characters planned, suggesting Nintendo once considered an entire line of interactive stuffed controllers. However, because the toy wasn't an official licensed peripheral, Nintendo would not approve it for mass release. By the early 2010s, as Wii sales slowed, WiiWa was shelved. Zoink later reworked some ideas into mobile titles, but the original Wii concept remains a surreal relic, proof of how far developers once pushed Nintendo's hardware before the project was buried. Layer 4: The Deep Mysteries. At the bottom of the iceberg are fragments Nintendo left no trace of, as if erasing them from memory. Wii Relax was built for the never-released Vitality sensor, a peripheral Nintendo unveiled in 2009 that slipped over a player's finger to measure pulse and stress levels. Shigeru Miyamoto described how it could detect heart rate and relaxation, hinting at meditative gameplay. Wii Relax was expected to be the showcase title, encouraging players to calm their bodies and steady their breathing. Possible minigames were rumored to include candle flame control, guided breathing exercises, and mood visualization based on heart rate. But the sensor failed to meet reliability standards, working for only about 80% of users, and the project was abandoned. Miyamoto later admitted Nintendo could not find a practical way to use the device that was fun for everyone. Aside from its title, no images or builds have ever been surfaced, making Wii Relax one of the most mysterious lost Wii projects. It stands as evidence of Nintendo's ambition to merge wellness, hardware, and gaming in ways the world was never meant to see. The Wii Fit Taikenbon Trial Edition is one of the rarest discs on the system, with only 6 copies confirmed. Designed for Japanese kiosks, it contained a limited set of balance and yoga activities. But what makes it unique is its separate title screen and background music, absent from the retail release. These differences confirm that Nintendo considered alternate versions of Wii Fit before finalizing it. Collectors have preserved footage of its startup sequence, but no dumps of the disc are publicly available. The Fortune Teller Notebook on DS was an obscure project that quietly became the birthplace of Miis. Developed internally on Nintendo around 2005, it was intended as a fortune-telling and lifestyle tool aimed at adult women. Players could create avatars based on themselves, which would then be used in readings and social interactions. These avatars looked strikingly similar to Miis years before the Wii's reveal. Only a handful of screenshots survive, showing a primitive Mii Maker tool like customizable faces, hairstyles, and expressions. The project was ultimately cancelled, but its DNA lived on. Nintendo recycled the avatar system into the Mii channel, giving the Wii its most iconic feature. Some of the original assets even appeared in promotional material on Tamagotchi Collection on the DS, further tying the notebook to Nintendo's later social games. Developers later confirmed that this cancelled DS title was a direct ancestor of the Mii system, showing how one abandoned project shaped the entire identity of the Wii. Though never released, the fortune-telling notebook proves that Miis didn't start with the Wii. They were born in a cancelled DS project that Nintendo quietly erased from history, leaving only fragments to suggest how close it came to changing Nintendo's handheld library as well. The Wii era was filled with joy, but behind every polished release were projects Nintendo silenced. Some were mistakes they wanted forgotten. Others were too strange, too risky, or too revealing. Many remained locked away. The more you descend through the iceberg, the clearer it becomes that Nintendo's most family-friendly console was also its most experimental, and its most secretive. But for every game we played in our living rooms, there were others hidden in vaults, erased from memory, or quietly dismantled before they could be seen. Each layer of the iceberg reveals a different face of Nintendo. The careful perfectionist that polished Wii Sports until it was safe for everyone, the innovator that dreamed up plush toy controllers and spacewalk simulators, and the cautious gatekeeper that buried anything that might tarnish the image of the Wii. What survives today is only thanks to collectors, hackers, and fragments of footage that slip through the cracks. It's a reminder that the Wii was more than just motion controls and Miis. It was a crossroads of bold experiments, hidden mistakes, and secrets that Nintendo never intended us to uncover. And while much of this media may remain buried forever, its very absence makes the Wii's legacy feel even more mysterious.